Hey guys, it's Cartoon 12 of DeviantArt and Comic Fury. So for this week's video, I thought I would switch things up a bit and feature something a little bit different here. Now, in the forums on Comic Fury, more than once I've seen people ask the question of, like, how you make a comic, or, like, people have been asking one another, like, what's your process, how do you come up with ideas, and stuff like that. So I thought that, it was kind of hard to try to explain it like in paragraphs, like in word form on there, so I thought to make it a little bit easier, this week I would actually feature a video on how I actually make an comic or an episode of Jamie Jupiter from start to finish here. So you'll get to see the process here of how I go from an idea for an episode into making it into a full color comic here. Now, obviously everybody has their own way of coming up with ideas and inspiration and making different comics and stuff, so there is no right or wrong way to make art or to make a comic or anything like that. It's whatever is best for you, whatever your process is, whatever works best for you is whatever gets the job done is the right way to do it. So I'm just featuring the way I prefer to do it, or the way what my process is. So way back when I was first developing the story, I decided to I have this 3-ring binder here of concept art for the entire series here. When I started developing the characters, I actually came up with these, I made these little breakdown sheets of all the characters, their names, even like broke down to their age, what their birthday is, what their favorite colors or food is. I actually gave each one of them a theme song, what their personality is, their strengths, weaknesses, where they come from, their origin stories, or in some characters' cases, what planet they come from. And now, obviously, most of this I kind of know already because, well, I'm the one making it. But I still wrote it all down and kept it all neat and organized, so I wouldn't forget anything. And just in case, like, because I've got so many characters, in case I do forget something, I can just go back here and, you know, check my facts and everything and make sure I got everything right and that I'm writing the characters right. And this whole packet here was actually just for the heroes, and actually in the back of the book here I got a whole nother packet just about the villains too. And so I did these little sort of like model sheets that you'll see in animation of every single character, these breakdown sheets, these like model sheets of these different turnarounds of each character, and turn the book here, and different expression sheets for each of the characters and what their different home planets look like. And actually that one's about Jamie here, and I don't want to give too much away there. So even in Jamie's case, she's actually got 2 different breakdown sheets because she has her alien form and her human form, and even went through and drew in like what their different outfits would look like, and the like swimsuits, wintertime clothes, pajamas, all kinds of stuff like that. See, like there's the one for Clara, and there's one for Tyler, and then it goes into actually breaking down like the main locations. Like here's Clara's apartment, and actually made a blueprint for her apartment so I'd be able to, like, all the different angles, I'd be able to draw it at right. Like some of these you've actually seen already in this episode 3, especially when we first get to her apartment there, and you'll see more of this as it goes on. I've got Tyler's house over here too, and so actually there's not too much else I can show right now because I don't want to spoil it, but like I got what some of the locations in the school look like, some of the teachers, different stuff like that. And so if I ever get to a like whenever I'm doing an episode, if I ever get to a point where we're getting to a new location, I can just refer to this book and I already have everything ready to go, and I'll know exactly how to draw it. So anyway, when it gets to the actual writing stuff here, I'm going to kind of spoil a little bit right now and say that this series, my plan is the Jamie Jupiter series is actually going to span on for 5 seasons. So yeah, this is going to be kind of long here, but so whenever I was actually planning out the stories, I planned out like whatever I could think of at the time. I wrote it all down and eventually went through and broke it down into which story arcs would fit best for each season. And then, so obviously I'm still in season 1 right now, so this is as far as I planned. And like here I actually broke down season 1, and like up at the top there's a paragraph that says like all of the main things in the story arc that have to happen. And then underneath here I have every single episode numbered here with the title and just like a short little sentence about of like what that episode's about. And I actually, all these ones that are starred here are the ones that I have done already. So season 1 here actually is going to have, like, I think each season is going to have like 20 episodes apiece, with each, like the first episode here was the pilot episode, and then episodes 19 and 20 back here is going to be another 2-parter, which be considered like your season finale, however you want to call it. So the beginning and end of each season would be like a 2-part episode. And so like even with all this neatly typed down, like I'll get new ideas and stuff, so I got all kinds of stuff scribbled in and squeezed in on the sides here, but so I'll probably end up having to retype this again eventually to get it neat again. But so each episode here now, whenever I get an idea for something, I'll have to write it down real quick before I forget it. But some of these episodes go into like, if I had a clear idea, then I'll write down almost everything that happens in that episode. Other episodes here, like this one down here, only has like 1 sentence, and so I have to, whenever I get to that episode, I'm really going to have like a kind of a harder time fleshing out that one. Like some I'll have the bare bones figured out, other ones I was like ultra specific with. It's just whatever came to my mind at the time. But so once I get to writing an actual episode, now that I have the basic plot here, next comes actually writing, I gotta grab it here, next comes actually writing the summary for it. So that I just have little 3-ring notebooks here, and I'll just write down a full summary of like an actual detail of what's going to happen in that episode start to finish, so that way I can read back through it and make sure that it sounds good, that it all makes sense, that like the plot makes sense and there's not too many plot holes in it at all. So then once I have this, then I'll go and write the actual script. So like using that summary, I'll then go through and write the actual script, and then once I write it, then I'll go ahead and type it. So I gotta go grab it here, because I'm actually in the middle of drawing, I'm almost finished drawing episode 6 right now, so that's kind of another good timing here why I decided to make this here. So then I'll end up typing it into a script form, so you'll see like what each character says, and then like in italics here you'll have your description of like what happens in that scene or whatever. Now this is another part where everybody has their own way of doing it. Now some, like it depends on like whether you're working by yourself or if you're working with somebody else. Now I would think that if you're working with a partner, or like if more than one person's working on the comic, whoever's writing the script, you'll probably definitely have to break it down more in more detail, like, okay, in this panel this person says this, then in this next panel cut to this scene or whatever. Now I don't write the scripts that way because, well, since I'm doing everything, I don't really have to write it that way. It's like I kind of know what's going to happen, so I don't have to write it ultra specific like that. Like, I'll just say, like this character will say a line, and then it'll say, and then this person walks over here and does this. Like, it doesn't say, like, it doesn't say, I don't say anything like, oh, like, shoot it from this angle, or draw it at a bird's eye view or a worm's eye view angle, or something like that. Like, that's actually what I'll figure out in the next step here, where I start drawing these very tiny little thumbnail sketches of the different angles that I am going to draw it at. Like, after I write the script, then I'll go through the whole thing and draw these little thumbnail sketches, and this is where I actually break it down into what's going to happen on each page. And if you see on the side here on the script, I actually draw in these little brackets of like what chunk of dialogue is going to be on that page. So like, this is page 23, this is page 24. So then as I'm drawing, I'll refer to both of these, like, well, let me grab the next thing, because after I do the thumbnails, the next step is actually drawing it. Now, so then I'll go and get a piece of paper and essentially just draw it all out. And I just take a ruler and just draw in all of the panels and stuff, and then just go in and draw it. Now, a lot of people I know usually don't like doing this format. Like I know a lot of people, especially when they're drawing or coloring digitally, like they'll just draw all the panels on the computer and stuff, and for some reason, like, a lot of people think it's easier that way. But like I said, just whatever way works best for you is the right way to do it. So in my case, I just prefer just doing everything on the page here. And so as I'm drawing, like, actually I have a blank page set up here. Like, I just drew the panels in right now. So now, like, this one is page 24, and I got page 24's thumbnail here. So then I'll be reading the script and go, alright, this has to happen. So then I'll go in and draw it sort of like the way the thumbnail says it. And then, so then later when it's all colored, or not colored, when it's all drawn in here, I'll very quickly draw in some of the word bubbles. Like, I won't write the whole thing, but I'll just start writing part of the sentence, like, just so I know, like, where each sentence or bubble is starting and ending, just to get an idea of it. And then whenever I get to the coloring part, I'll mess with the actual super precise placement of the bubbles later. But obviously, whenever you are drawing, no matter which way you do this, always make sure you leave a good amount of space, so you don't end up, so the bubbles don't end up covering up someone's face or a hand, especially if the hand gesture is important or something. So once all that is drawn, then I'll just scan it into the computer, and then from there it's just a matter of coloring the whole page and putting in all the bubbles and all that, and then pretty much you have a finished comic right there. And now, as for the coloring stage of it, that I actually sort of covered in an earlier video, and I'll put the link to it here on how I color stuff on the computer. Now, in that previous video, that was actually dealing more with just one drawing, not necessarily a comic like this, but it's still pretty much the same way. Like one layer I'll have all of the inks just for the panels, then the next layer I'll ink all the characters, and then from there each layer is like the background color, the skin, the hair, the clothes, like that, just one after another. So it's pretty much the same way as doing one drawing, just takes a little longer because there's a lot more detail in it. But from there, that's actually about it. From then on, it's just a matter of uploading it, and, well, you guys have already seen the end results. So, but yeah, that's essentially how I make a Jamie Jupiter comic from start to finish. And like I said before, everybody has their own way of doing it, so, but that's the way I do it, so. But whichever way is easiest for you is the right way to do it. Whichever gets the job done is the right way to do it. But I hope you found this interesting, and hopefully next week I'll be back with a new drawing video. So until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and bye-bye.